Hey, it's Zane. Welcome back. Hope you're having a great day wherever you may be, and thank you for tuning in again today. Now, before we start today's video, I just want to share with you Chili's new haircut. He had an appointment with the hairdressers yesterday. I'm sure you'll agree he's looking very handsome. He's feeling a lot better too. But he's here today just to support the channel, support the cause. But look, today I want to talk about the only three things you need to be focused on. The only three things you need to be concerned about if you want to participate in this digital transformation of wealth. This shift from fiat currency into the world's first fixed finite deflationary asset class, where you have the opportunity to create financial freedom for yourself, to create generational wealth for your kids and those beyond, whether you're looking to amplify your existing investment portfolio, whether you're looking to retire early, whatever your goals may be, and depending on whether you've got 5, 10 or 15 years, I really think that Bitcoin has a role to play in everybody's situation. And I've mentioned before, I've got three kids, three daughters in their 20s, and one of the things I keep harping on to them is how important it is that they really continue to save a portion of their income into Satoshis. And the reason for that is because there's no other way that I know of that they're going to be able to really protect and preserve their purchasing power in this hyperinflationary environment that we're in now and that is basically going to continue. And so you and I both know that if you're saving in cash, it's pretty much financial suicide now. And this is why people are, looking for all sorts of different vehicles, taking high risks, because they inherently know, intuitively they know within themselves that life is getting harder. They can't necessarily put their finger on why, what is causing it, but they just know that life is getting harder. And so people are either just living for today, particularly young people, because they're kind of giving up hope for the future. So their time preference is very, very high. They're focused on the now, and they're not really focused on the future. Or they are taking high risks with their money in order to try and get themselves ahead in some way. And I'm sure you can relate to this, if not for yourself, then I'm sure people you know. And so with all of that said, in this inflationary environment, the attacks happening on retirement funds, we know they've been in the spotlight recently, superannuation hacks, the governments are now looking to impose capital gains tax on unrealized gains in people's superannuation and their super funds and retirement funds. All of this stuff is going to continue, and so in that environment, we have to be really focused on Bitcoin as an asset class and what it can do for us, not just in terms of wealth acceleration, but also in terms of wealth preservation and wealth protection. And so the three things I really want you to be focused on is, number one, you have to stack sats. You have to stack sats like a psychopath. You have to have a plan every single week, fortnight, month, quarter, whatever it might be, to be able to finish that period of time with more Satoshis than you began with. You see, I believe, and I'm in the camp with the likes of Samson Mao, who believes that, we're going to enter a suddenly phase. So we're in the gradually phase now where, Bitcoin has evolved from first just a funny internet money concept. People were ignoring it. Then they laughed at it. Then they attacked it. And now we're in the phase where the movers and shakers of the world are now joining it because they know they can't stop it. And I believe that the defining moment was when the SEC in the US in January 2024, they issued the ability for these financial institutions to issue these ETFs, these exchange traded funds. So no longer was Bitcoin just a kind of a left field nascent asset class sitting over on the sidelines doing its own thing. Now it's being funneled and channeled into where the greatest pools of capital exist, and that of course is Wall Street. The hedge funds, the big financial planning institutions who have salespeople all around the world who plug their financial planning clients into different financial products. Now all of a sudden they can recommend Bitcoin to their clients, the best performing asset on earth. And so that was a defining moment. And then of course we had another one earlier this year when the US announced that it has intentions to set up an SBR, a strategic Bitcoin reserve, to go alongside their oil reserves, their gold reserves. They even have cheese reserves, would you believe? And so, this is where we're going now. We have nation states, we have Wall Street, we have institutions. I believe we're going to see insurance companies now. We can see when there's all these natural disasters going on around the world, it's becoming harder and harder for people to get replacement value for all of the insurance that they've paid over the years. When there's a disaster, you only need to look at what happened in the Carolinas with the cyclones, tornadoes about a year or so ago, Pacific Palisades in California, the wildfires. We've had cyclones here in Queensland. It's getting harder and harder for these insurance companies to be able to honour these claims. And so, when you have an inflationary currency that is continuing to lose its value, and then these insurance companies are being expected to come to the party and issue replacement value on assets that have been destroyed in today's prices, that's a big problem. And so I believe we're also going to see insurance companies start to plug their balance sheets into Bitcoin as well. So the bottom line to it is that we have a fixed, finite, limited supply asset where 95% of it is already in circulation, and we have the biggest fund managers and institutions and governments in the world looking to acquire it. And so any Bitcoin that you and I are able to acquire, be it in percentages of Bitcoin, Satoshis, whatever derivatives you want to play with, if you're able to acquire whole Bitcoin, you've got the capital and the means to be able to do that, then great. But even if you don't have the ability to acquire one whole Bitcoin, because I believe that's going to be the holy grail for people entering into this digital transformation of wealth, if you're able to get to one whole Bitcoin, which in today's dollars is around about 85,000 US dollars, then I believe you're going to be setting not only yourself and your family up, but your kids up for the future financially, provided that you're able to do step number 2, and that is to hold on to your Bitcoin. So step number 1 is to stack like a mad person. Really prioritize how it is that you can get rid of stuff you don't need, how it is that you can generate extra revenue, allocate capital from other maybe underperforming assets that you have in your portfolio, maybe some things that you can go without for a period of time and start delaying gratification for the benefit of what is coming in the future. The more you're able to secure a piece of this new monetary protocol that is transforming the financial landscape, remember, when you own Bitcoin, you own a piece of, like Michael Saylor says, digital Manhattan. You're owning a piece of the dirt, of the granite, of the base layer technology where all of these financial layers and products are going to be built on top of that base layer. And so if you can imagine an opportunity that we could have had 25 years ago to buy into the internet protocol, whereby every time there was an email sent, every time there was an e-commerce transaction done, every time there was a download, you and I would get a piece of that transaction, every single one of those transactions, that's what we're dealing with when we think about Bitcoin and the opportunity we have to own a piece of the base layer of this protocol. And I believe a lot of people are underestimating what they're actually holding. There's a lot of people who have Bitcoin that have no idea. They've done no real work whatsoever other than to know that it's the best performing asset. But for me, that's just the beginning on your Bitcoin learning journey. The next step is to actually understand what the hell you own. And if people could only take a little time to really study what it is that they actually hold in their hands, I believe a lot of people wouldn't get shaken out by this market. And so just to recap, step number one is to acquire as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. We are in a window of opportunity right now. We know what's coming. It's not a secret. It's been announced. It's very, very clear. You only need to be paying a little bit of attention to know what is coming. Nothing can stop what is coming. Bitcoin cannot go to zero now. We've crossed that bridge. We've crossed the chasm now. The only thing that can happen is you can miss out on the greatest financial opportunity of your life by not taking action. That's the only thing that can go wrong. And so stack as hard as you possibly can. That's step number one. Step number two is to hold on for dear life. Just hold on. You've got to hodl that Bitcoin. You have to hodl that Bitcoin. Don't worry about what the price is doing today, tomorrow, next month, next year even. We know that the trajectory of Bitcoin is up and to the right forever. You have to zoom out. You have to keep zooming out and really understanding what it is that you hold. Take a 3, 5, 10-year time frame perspective on this asset and where you intuitively know this is going to be. Okay? This is Amazon 1999. If you were buying Amazon shares in 1999, you had to have a vision. All right? And right now you are a pioneer in this transformational financial age where everything is being digitized and tokenized, but you are actually going to be owning the centerpiece to all of this transformation. The base layer, the granite, the only thing that is decentralized, the only thing that cannot be debased, the only thing that is truly deflationary, the only thing that cannot be confiscated, the only thing where the rules can't be changed. That's what you will be owning. That's what you do own right now. And so you have to keep reinforcing your belief, your mindset, your knowledge. That's the secret. That's the key to not being shaken out of this market. Stop looking at the day-to-day price. It really doesn't matter. When people ask me, can you comment on what's happening, with the tariffs and everything that's going on in the economy, and there's so much fear, uncertainty, and doubt. For me, it really doesn't matter. It's just noise. I would prefer to dedicate my time rather than looking at the mainstream news. Bitcoin doesn't care who's in office. It doesn't care what taxes are imposed. It doesn't care what spending programs are put in place. It doesn't care what election, the two uni-party candidates that we have in Australia that we get to vote for next month. Bitcoin doesn't care about any of that. And you have to keep reminding yourself of that. Bitcoin is a decentralized protocol that has a life force of its own. It is decentralized. It is bounded by energy, as Jeff Booth says all of the time. Bounded by energy. It does not care what is going on in the political landscape, the geopolitical landscape, the economic environment. It really doesn't matter. So zoom out, stop watching the news, understand the asset you hold on for dear life. Do not let this market wear you out, and do not let it shake you out. Okay, you cannot allow it to do that, because it'll be a decision that you make that you'll live to regret. Believe me. So again, number one, stack like a mad person. Number two, hold like your life depends on it. And just stop paying attention to the daily news that can just get inside your head and cause you to maybe lose faith, make bad decisions. Just keep your eye on the prize. And number three is probably the most important of all, and that is to not lose your Bitcoin. It's just absolutely life and death. It's just critical. You cannot lose your Bitcoin. Okay, and then that means that you have to be really spending some time on self-custody, learning about the right hardware wallets to use, understanding how to move your Bitcoin off exchanges, get it off the exchange, get it off the full service brokerage, and I know a lot of them offer cold storage solutions in-house, but you've heard the saying, not your keys, not your coins. And so, even when you entrust an exchange or a brokerage, a full service brokerage, with the ability to store your Bitcoin through cold storage, you still don't wholly and solely own those keys, and so you are still leaving yourself open to counterparty risk, and I would not be doing that. Okay, so just spend some time on self-custody, and I'm going to start talking a little bit more about that in these videos moving forward, because I know some of you haven't mastered this yet. But just understand that this is a journey. Number one is to get your Bitcoin off an exchange as soon as you possibly can into cold storage in the right type of hardware solution. That's really, really important. Okay, so until you do that, you aren't truly self-sovereign. You really don't truly own your Bitcoin, and you're certainly not portable in the event of any kind of crisis or draconian measures that are put in place by the establishment that don't suit you and your lifestyle. It's so important that you are taking absolute control of this transformational asset. So stack like a mad person, do not get shaken out, hold on for dear life, and number three, just ensure that you do everything you can to absolutely not lose your Bitcoin. And if you do those things, you're going to realize all of the benefits that Bitcoin has to offer. You're going to become financially free. You're going to create generational wealth. You're going to be able to call the shots when it comes to your retirement. You're not going to be dependent on the system to support you. You're going to be able to avoid central bank digital currencies if and when they come in. And that's really what Bitcoin is all about. It's about wealth acceleration and wealth protection, which essentially is freedom and self-sovereignty. So I hope you got some value today. Again, another rant, but it's really important that you're staying the course, that you're stacking, and that you're really securing your Bitcoin. And when you do that, you're going to get all of the benefits and a whole lot more. This is Zane signing out. Thank you for listening. Please leave a comment and like the video, and please subscribe if you haven't already. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye for now.